Welcome to WikiAfrica Hour, where Africa's Wikimedians talk to, learn from, and discuss with each other topics they choose. Each session is curated by African Wikimedians to expand Africa's open movement. Today's host is Ceslas Obanyaya.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to another fun episode of WikiAfrica Hour, titled WikiEvents Unpacked. This is the fourth episode, as you know. I'm Steve Ceslas Obanyaya, your host. In this episode, we have guests who will be giving us the backstage views and other insights into the upcoming Wikimania 2021 and Wiki Indaba 2021. We all have once in a while heard about Wikimania and Wiki Indawa, these two great wiki events. This episode is aimed at giving details on how these events are organized and how they benefit you and your works as a Wikimedia. This action reiterates the aim for which the Wiki in Africa activated the Wiki Africa Hour podcast, which is one, to share current updates and highlights of Africa Wikimedian activities, to interact with guests, if any, and take questions from community members, and thirdly, to promote synergy within the Wiki community by discussing projects, topics, constraints, collaborations, and opportunities. This is why we have invited the following guest speakers to the episode. Today with me is Antoni Mtavangu. There is Winnie Kabintie, there is Yamen Bousrih, there is Gnangarra, there is Iolanda Pensa, there is Geoffrey Katerega, there is Erina Mukuta, and there is Alice Kibombo. Antoni Mtavangu is a Tanzanian Wikimedia project volunteer and contributor since 2018, a co-founder of Wikimedia Community User Group Tanzania, and one of the Swahili Wikipedia administrators. He's also a women's advocate who contributes his efforts to bridge the gender gap between men and women on Wikipedia through projects such as WikiGap and Wiki Loves Women, arts and feminism too. He recently collaborated with the East Africa organizers to organize the Wikimedia preconference in Tanzania. Winnie Kabintie is Wikipedia editor and community mobilizer based in Kenya. She's passionate about championing media and information literacy, gender equality, human rights, and transformational leadership. She joined the movement in September 2019 during the East Africa Strategy Summit 2019 in Kampala, Uganda. She's much more active in English Wikipedia with vested interest in gender gap. In 2020, she coordinated the Afro-Cine Editathon in Kenya and led the movement strategy prioritization meetings in Kenya in November and December 2020. She currently serves as communication support for the co-organizing team for the upcoming 2021 Wikimania conference. Yamen Bousrih is a co-founder of Wikimedia Tunisia. Yamen is a strong advocate of open knowledge, open culture, open governance, and open data. He currently provides support in programming and reviewing the Wikimedia 2021 session submissions. Gnangarra is a member of Wikimedia Australia. He is currently serving in the Wikimedia 2021 co-organizing team. He is in charge of the scholarship program. He was also the lead for scholarships for ESEAP, which stands for East and Southeast Asia and the Pacific Wikimania 2020, that was supposed to be held in Bangkok, Thailand, but it was cancelled. Iolanda Pensa has been an active Wikipedia contributor since 2006. She is the current president of Wikimedia Italia. She is a member of Wiki in Africa board. She is a researcher too. She was the lead organizer for Wikimedia Lario in 2016 in Italy. She is a member of both Wikimedia Italia and Wikimedia Switzerland. She currently leads the Wikipedia Primary School SSAJRP program in Switzerland. And she also serves as the chair of the Wikimedia Steering Committee. Wikimania, like we may have heard or know, is the Wikimedia Movement's annual conference, which is made possible by volunteer community and hosted by Wikimedia Foundation. It was inaugurated on August 5th, 2005. The Wikimania 2021 is scheduled to hold from 13th to 17th of August 2021, and it has been decided that it will be holding online virtually. So, Antoni, we will be starting with you. Welcome, Antoni, once again.
Thank you, Saswas.
Could you explain the concept behind the pre-conference? What were you hoping it would achieve?
All right, thank you, Saswas. Yes, we had a plan of having a Wikimania 2021 pre-conference in Tanzania. And the main things that they pushed us to Wikimania 2021 pre-conference in Tanzania. And the main things that yes, they had a plan of having a Wikimania 2021 pre-conference in Tanzania. And the main things that all right, so I can proceed. Yep.
Oh,
so yes, thank you. So the ideas that or the reasons for having the pre-conference in 2021 in Tanzania was that because we saw as East Africa region, we had some discussions around how communities within East Africa can participate fully in international events and conferences like Wiki Indaba and Wikimania. And the challenges that pushed us to have that kind of pre-conference was that most of the African Wikimedians have never attended Wikimania. And some of them, they even don't know what Wikimania it is. And we thought that it was a good idea to have some kind of gathering that can spark the knowledge or raise awareness about what Wikimania is and what is the potential inside it when someone attends. Then the second reason was that within Wikimedia movement, there is a lot of ongoing global discussions, such as about regional hubs, and movement charter, etc. But some of the African Wikimedians, they are not aware of that. So we thought that maybe this pre-conference can be a good stage to discuss those stuffs. Then the third thing was that as African Wikimedians, we don't have much platforms. We don't have many platforms for discussing things that matter to African contexts. So we thought this was a good platform to come together and discuss our future for East African region and the neighboring countries. And the fourth reason was in most cases, African communities are lagging behind when it comes to international participation, international discussions on the topics, international topics that affects the movement as a large. So we thought maybe this is the way our voice as East African region can be heard by coming together and discussing our own things. So in summary, we wanted to raise more awareness about the existence of global events and the conferences like the Wikimania and the potential topics that can be discussed in those discussions during the Wikimania 2021, the next month, so that people can actively understand it's being discussed there, and they can that way contribute actively. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Antoni. I couldn't agree less when you said that there was need to amplify the voice of Africa, in quote, on the global stage in terms of the global discussion. The second question for you is, I understand that, of course, you had high hopes for the Wikimedia 2021 pre-conference, though now we understand that it's not happening. I mean, what happened?
All right, thank you. Yes, that was a big question for most of the participants or the Wikimedia communities that are coming from the East Africa region. Like, okay, so we heard that it will not happen. What is the reason? So we had some kind of communication with the Wikimania team, and we got the response that, okay, while the application was so good and the idea was so good, but unfortunately, the Wikimania 2021 scholarship program was not able to fund international travels or international events that constitute international travel because of COVID-19 pandemic. And so there was not the scholarship for this year was not funding projects or initiatives that was involving international flights or travel. That was the first reason. Then the second reason was that the nature of the pre-conference was fitting much if we did apply under conference and events grants. So the team advised us like, okay, while the idea is very good, this is not the end of our hope to have to come together. We can always apply again in future under the conference and events grants. So those are all the reasons that it prohibited or that made the pre-conference not to happen this year.
Okay, that's quite a consolation, I suppose, for our listeners who felt a bit like they were left hanging. So thanks. And then the third question we have for you, which would be the final question for you for your slot, is though this year's Wikimania pre-conference won't be held, what advice can you give any team or community by looking to organize some sort of pre-conference, be it for Wikimania or Wiki Indaba or some other wiki thing in the future? What can you give them as an advice?
All right, thank you. So before going to that question, I'd like maybe to talk a little bit with what's going on.
Okay.
Despite that the Wikimania 2021 pre-conference in Tanzania was cancelled, but we do also have another hope that the team did allow us to apply for the joint grant to still attend the Wikimania virtual event. So the communities came again together and amended their budgets, and luckily, and we are very grateful for the team responsible for this, our grant was approved. So coming to your question, like which kind of advice do I have to the community that might want to organize again, maybe pre-conference or similar kind of projects? The one is that communication. They should maintain communication within the participants or the communities that they need to involve. That will be easier if the communities involved, they do understand better what is the purpose of that kind of pre-conference or similar event. The second thing is commitment. If you see these things happening, there is some way someone gonna be needing to be very committed with looking out that ensuring that everything is going smoothly. So yeah, I think this is very important. The third thing is the mindset of that we are ready for this. This helps us to, or anyone who wants to organize this of events to keep moving, because overcoming the fear or the spirit of saying we are not ready, we are not ready. No, feeling that we are ready for this helps to keep moving. Then the good team actually, yeah, will be a good option and a good thing to have. Having a good team of people who are active, because sometimes some activities they need someone to be available even to the hours that are not convenient to others. And the last two things is that they should keep synchronization with the WMF team that is responsible for the particular grant, because some of the advice can be helpful while they are moving along the plan. And the last thing is the COVID-19 issue, because the global pandemic has been a challenge to most of the countries. So before they decide on whatever pre-conference or in-person gathering, they should be considering about COVID-19 issues, whether the situation allows them to meet. So these are the things that I can advise.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful. I mean, if anybody here is hoping to carry out a pre-conference within this pandemic period, of course, it makes sense to have the COVID thing in mind and work around it. Thank you once again, Anthony. Moving forward, Iolanda, welcome to the session. It's nice seeing you and putting a face to the name. So first, we would like to know who came up with the name Wikimania, and why was it created?
Well, I tried to find the solution, but I still don't know. I checked online. I asked some of the long-lasting attendees of Wikimania. I think sincerely that maybe Delphine Ménard could have the answer. So maybe we can look for the answer together. But still, I don't know. It's probably, as many of the Wikimedia project, is a collaborative effort. And I imagine that it's the contribution of more than one person, I imagine.
Okay.
But I don't know. Sorry, I couldn't find it out.
Okay. And then why was Wikimania created?
Well, of course, the need of a meeting is the most important part of Wikimania. This year, we're going to gather online. We have a virtual event, an online event. But of course, what we want to do is to get together. I think a lot of Wikipedians enjoy meeting each other. We are an online community, so we need also a moment in which we exchange, we discuss, we find ways also of knowing each other's faces and exchanging in discussion that are real life. So this need was at the really heart of Wikimania, and also an effort of joining together the world. So this effort of not creating only a regional meeting, only local meeting, but really try to get together. And I think right now this international dimension, this idea of gathering all of us somehow also online, it's also a chance to obviously having more people attending, but it is a real need, and also it is something that we want to foster in our community. So making the community more international and capable of exchanging more at an international level.
Thank you so much for that detailed answer. And moving forward, I mean, Wikimania is stewarded by the steering committee, to my understanding. What is the role of the steering committee? And I mean, can anyone join? And how is the location for these Wikimania conferences chosen? I mean, over the years, we've seen it move from one point to the other, one country to the other. I mean, explain the process of choosing these locations to us, and then what the steering committee does, and how anyone could join if need be.
So the steering committee personally, I think, has a very major role of assuring that Wikimania takes place. So I think the main task of the steering committee is to make sure that every year we again organize Wikimania. Of course, there's the selection process, but it's really moving forward, guarantee that this event continue because it is important for the community. The second aspect is to advocate for the role of the community. So, of course, there's many partners, there are many people involved in Wikimania, sorry, my Italian pronunciation of it.
That's all right.
There are many people involved. And of course, there is a continuous exchange with the Wikimedia Foundation that in the recent years has gained a major role also in facilitating the event and in supporting it. On the other hand, what is important about this event is really the initiative of the community, the space that we can make for all the proposal and all the engagement of the community. So guaranteeing that the community is at the center of Wikimania is a part of our duty. And the last aspect is also making sure that the experience of the past nourish Wikimania in the future, so that we take advantage of those experiences, that we learn one edition from the other. So this is, in general terms, the role of the Wikimania Steering Committee. The members of the committee, so you were asking, so the people that compose the committee are normally people that organized previous Wikimania, or they had a major role in previous Wikimedia. So we normally co-opt them, or there are people that propose themselves to join. They can be also people very active in events. In general, we had proposal also throughout time of people that wanted to join in, and they can bring experience, they can provide obviously experience of the community and other events, and so they've been invited to join and nominated, but in general is based on previous edition. So the steering committee is really a role of legacy, a role of continuity related to the previous events. And lastly, how we select the venues. This year, of course, we went virtual for COVID. We also believe that it's important to not put the community at risk. So this is also a reason why an online event was the best solution. But in general, there is the first criteria is an unsaid criteria is to have a Wikimania around the world. This has been a main topic for many years. Wikimania has been turning around. We had edition in Europe, in Latin America, in Africa, in the United States, in Asia. And right now, we would love to have an event in Asia. So it's going to be, let's say, the next venue. Latin America also will be another turn. So we're waiting to go there. I think this international movement is important, is of course not the only criteria. Every edition we look at when we used to have a bidding process, so we used to have a competition, let's say, to host Wikimania. I was personally a lot against this competition because one of the problems that we faced throughout time is that you have a winner and you have the others are they lose, and sometimes they put a lot of effort in proposing their city, their venue. So trying to find solutions that may allow teams to work together, like the idea of working with a network of Asian country. I think this is a better option. But of course, we also believe that Wikimania should be a space in which communities can apply and can propose their ideas. So I would like to invite you during this edition of Wikimania. Traditionally, we have a session focused on the future of Wikimania. So please join us there to discuss how we want Wikimania to change, how we want it to be in the future. And if you have a proposal, please come and discuss it with the team to make sure that we make this event as more inclusive as possible, and we allow also people to propose their own ideas. Personally, I think an event should change a little bit the world. I think events are not only an occasion to gather people, but they can be a chance to transform things, to be an engine of change, a way of triggering changement in a location. And I personally think that Wikimania can have this power. So when we take a Wikimania in a city, it can give visibility to our topic of free knowledge. And I really hope also the proposal take into account this, and they take into account how fun and experimental and new our event can be. Thank you.
Wow, that was very digestive, if I would say. Thank you so much for sharing. And
Thank you.
that offer on the researching the name Wikimania, I will take you up on that because I believe you as a researcher are in safe hands. Thank you so much, Iolanda. Moving forward, Winnie, we have the first question for you. Hello, Winnie.
Hi, Seth.
Yeah, welcome. I like your regalia, by the way. But moving down to your question, what does it take to plan a successful Wikimedia conference? And what can we expect this year?
Okay, first, I will say planning takes a lot of effort and commitment and synergy from different stakeholders with different expertise in terms of program management, in terms of communication aspects, and for this particular case, also in terms of technology capacity. So all this has been skills that the various members of the Wikimania 2021 co-organizing team actually possess, and we all come together to synergize to ensure that the first ever virtual Wikimania is a great success. And what we can all expect in the 2021 Wikimania, one of the major things that we are actually guaranteeing is more diversity. And when we speak of diversity, we are speaking of it in terms of inclusion, which includes more participation. I understand in the past, actually this is my first Wikimania to attend and also to be part of organizing. So I'm pretty much excited. So when we speak about diversity and inclusivity, we're expecting to see an increased participation. I understand in the past, the in-person events were actually a bit limiting, especially when it came to the cost implications, because for people who did not qualify for the scholarship, which maybe Gnangarra will share a bit more about that, but I understand it was supporting around 100 people to participate. And so for anyone who did not qualify for the scholarship, you had to incur the cost of travel, your flights, accommodation, and even registration fees for Wikimania. So the virtual Wikimania has removed most of these barriers, and so we will have room for much more participants to actually participate from all over the world. As of yesterday, we actually had 1,800 registered participants to attend this, and already you can see that's quite a number. When it comes to also language support, in the in-person events, we only had English as the major language for the conference. But now with the virtual event, we are actually providing at least 5 foreign languages like the Spanish, Arabic, Mandarin, French. Yeah, so that is also another milestone. And also in terms of scholarships, I think more people have also been supported by the scholarship program. And so it's pretty exciting. And also when it comes to participation in terms of the sessions, we received also overwhelming numbers of submissions of people who wanted to present sessions in the conference. And at some point, we actually had to expand the tracks to create more room for people. And I'm sure Gnangarra and Yamen will also share a bit more on that. Yeah, so it's exciting. And I'm sure also everybody is excited to gather, even though it will be virtual, for, again, after 1 year of not gathering. And for those who've not had an opportunity to attend Wikimania like myself, it's exciting to also be part of this major conference and see what goes down. As Antoni mentioned, most of the community actually in East Africa have never attended. So this actually provides also an opportunity for such communities to actually get a glance of what happens in Wikimania, and not just get a glance, but also get involved in participating. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for that awesome, how do I say, resume about what we are to expect. And then I was going to leave this particular question to maybe to flow over to some other time, but you mentioned that languages or various languages have been put in place to make sure that nobody is left out. I mean, aside that, could you please let us in on how you're going to ensure diversity of attendance?
I'm not sure I got your question right. So you asked how we are going to ensure diversity in terms of attendance other than the language support?
Yes, that's
Okay,
it.
great. So by the fact that registration is free this time round, unlike in the past, already that makes it accessible to everyone. And also we are through our communications channels and platforms, we are also sharing information about registration and participation of Wikimania in different channels, different communities, including this particular platform, to ensure everyone is informed that Wikimania is happening and how to get involved.
Great. That's actually very good to know. Thank you so much for the details you've shared with us, Winnie. Thank you. I know some people will have questions for you in particular during the Q&A session. Hello, Yamen. We're coming over to you. And you are on the program team. I mean, you are responsible for choosing through the litany of submissions. I mean, that sounds like a Herculean task to do. What does the process involve?
So first of all, it's a responsibility to be part of this this committee of programming with my colleagues, with Anna, Ludovic, and all the other volunteers. I would like to say thanks to all the volunteers who helped us to select the session to be part of the program. And it was not an easy task, because we received many submissions. We have received more than 200 submissions, and many of them are very interesting. And we had to select some, because we have some limitation at the time, so it was not an easy task to select the accepted sessions. But we tried to select the maximum. So we selected more than 170 sessions to be part of the program, whether live or pre-recorded or on demand. So also we tried, when selecting the session, to have diversified content, diversified topics, diversity in terms of gender of the presenters, and also to respect the time zone of the presenter, to have to allocate the session to the different time zone to make this Wikimania accessible for all the Wikimedians around the world. As Winnie said, we wanted to make this Wikimania a special one, the most accessible and the most inclusive one.
That's actually a great point when you talk about diversity, because I believe that the Wikimania is going to have a diversified audience, and as such, any session submissions should actually tick that box to be selected.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know some people could...
Actually, it's 180 sessions that have been accepted to be part of the program. What the exact
180?
188, yes. So we are still sending the email, acceptance email. So if you didn't, participant, if you didn't receive email yet, you will receive it during this weekend. So we'll finish sending all the email during this weekend.
Okay, thank you. Those of them who are yet to receive, they will be standing by to hear from you. Thank you so much, Yamen, for such insight. And then moving over to Gnangarra, this year as an online conference, the scholarships were handled very differently, like we also. I mean, was there a particular reason why this year's Wikimania scholarship was for athletes to distribute to individuals under them? How could things have been done differently, Gnangarra?
Prior to this year, scholarships were handed out through the foundation and limited to about 100 people. Now, this year, what we decided was we looked at the scholarship process, and because there was no travel or accommodation, those very big ticket items, I should say highly priced items, or heavy expenses, we had the ability to support people with digital access, and that's a lot cheaper. But the downside of that process is that the foundation's financial team, funding team, grants team, however you want to put it, were unable to support the kind of volume that would be going out to communities. It would be very difficult to get through to individuals, and the costs in the international transfer of funds, is very high. So to give someone, say, $20 US support to get some additional data so that they can attend, we would be spending something like about $30 or $40 US to give that $20 of support. So it was a real waste of money, and it'd have, make our ability to pay, to offer as much support as possible, limited. So what we thought was, if we give it to the affiliates, we can make one international transaction that gets the money into the countries, and then the affiliates can then direct it out to the people in their communities who they know need that support, whether they're people who are extremely active or people who are struggling but are still trying to do something, and these kinds of support make it a lot easier for them. So, and it doesn't incur all of that cost, so we can put more money into the community. So as I said, prior to this year, the target was about 100 people being supported. This year, we have reached approximately 500 people through the scholarship process. So significantly more people are able to attend and be part of the event.
Okay, thank you for unveiling the reason why there was such a decision made, because a lot of people, of course, wouldn't have thought it this far. And yes, you are right when you say the athletes actually happen to know directly those who really are in need of these funds in order to participate. Thank you so much, Gnangarra.
Yeah,
We
that's all right.
appreciate you for your time. So thank you, Antoni. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you, Yamen. And thank you once again, Gnangarra. Iolanda, thank you so much for giving us the details about the steering committee. At least now we know they're not just some boogeymen in in the background making things happen.
Yes, they are.
We'll await the questions for you guys that will come later during the Q&A session. Moving on to the second panel, guys, is our engagement with the co-organizing team for Wiki Indawa 2021, made up of Godfrey Katerega, Irina Mukuta, and Alice Kibumbo. Godfrey Katerega is a member of Wikimedia Community User Group Uganda. He is an open data advocate, passionate about building online communities. He currently handles communications and publicity for the Wiki Indawa 2021 co-organizing team. Irina Mukuta herself is a co-founder of the Wikimedia Community User Group Uganda. She has been part of the several projects to increase content and knowledge sharing. She is a training and event coordinator for the Wikimedia Community User Group Uganda. She has participated in a conference for Wikipedians in residence organized by WikiAfrica in Johannesburg, South Africa. She has also coordinated a community-based project known as Kumusha Takes Wiki. She is the WMF Wikimedia Foundation and WISCOM liaison and logistics support for the Wiki Indawa 2021 co-organizing team. Alice Kimomo is a member of Wikimedia Community User Group Uganda. She was the 2020 visiting Wikimedia at the Wikimedia Deutschland, filling the learning and support role with and for the events team in order to successfully organize and implement Wikimedia Summit 2020. She works as a librarian at the Goethe Centrum, Kampala, in Uganda. She is the program lead for the Wiki Indawa 2020 co-organizing team. Like we all know, or we're yet to know, Wiki Indawa is also an official conference of the Wikimedia Foundation with interest in the African content. Topics of presentation and dialogue include Wikimedia projects such as Wikipedia, of course, and other wikis, open source software, free knowledge, free content, and how these projects affect the African continent. It was inaugurated in 2004. We'll be starting with you, Irina. And the first question we have for you is, what does Wiki Indawa mean and what does it hope to achieve?
Yeah, I'll take that question as last. Erina is not able to join us today, so I'll be taking her questions myself and Alice. So just to go over that. So Wiki Indawa is the regional conference for Africans, both within and in the diaspora. So the word Indaba actually itself means matter or business. So when we say Wiki Indawa, we actually mean like wiki matters or wiki business. So it's the opportunity for Wikimedians from Africa and all over the world to join us to to discuss wiki business in a very serious way. So the first edition of this conference was held in 2014. That was in Johannesburg, South Africa. Then in 2018, it moved to Tunis, in Tunisia, which was hosted by the Wikimedia Tunisia user group. And then 2019, it was in Nigeria, in Abuja. So it was supposed to happen in Uganda in 2020. We were hoping to host people in Kampala, but because of the COVID situation, we had to postpone the conference and eventually moved it online. So it's going to be a virtual conference that will happen in November from 5th to the 7th. And really the aim of this conference is one, to build capacity for African Wikimedians. So we also have learning days as part of the conference, and also to foster growth of the coverage and involvement of Africa within Wikimedia projects. That's like the second aim. And thirdly, to connect African Wikimedians both within the continent and the diaspora. So it's the number one event not to miss if you are a Wikimedian in Africa, but also we welcome people who are new to the Wikimedia movement to join us at the conference.
Thank you so much, Geoffrey. Thank you for filling in for Erina. There were so many faces I couldn't even notice her absence, but thanks for filling in for her. And moving forward, when is the Wiki Indawa happening? When precisely? Because they have been, how do I say, some discussions about the possible dates. So when, according to you, and who is the team that is hosting this time?
Yeah, I think Alice, you are muted, I think.
Sorry, technology fails me. So
Go ahead.
to answer your question, it's going to be a virtual event, and it's a 3-day conference in November between the 5th and the 7th. So as Geoffrey said, this is the place to be if you are interested in how the Wikimedia movement is like in Africa, in connecting with affiliates, if you're interested in connecting with so many people that we have had the opportunity to reach out to and work with during the pandemic, but also if you're in the diaspora.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That explains it.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on, Alice, what is special about this year's Wiki Indawa? I mean, how will it be organized? Okay, you mentioned it's going to be a virtual event. And then what is special about this year? What can we expect from the conference, from the program itself?
I think Winnie stole my answers. Winnie, I forgive you in advance. But well, away from the fact that it is that it's going to be virtual, we all know for a fact that the work of the movement, and especially in Africa, was affected by the situation that was presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. But this situation also presented the opportunity for so many affiliates to train people that were beyond their geographical location. So there were so many editors that were recruited, and with the length of time and the kind of things that they've done, they've evolved from just being editors to now, being able to take on administrative roles. But the challenge with that is beyond the trainings and beyond the opportunities that we offered as a collective, people have been working in isolation. So one of the main things that Wiki Indaba 2021 is going to be looking at and placing a lot of emphasis on is just the inclusion. We need to establish a sustainable dialogue with everybody that we've worked with in the last year.
It's actually a very interesting point, and I totally agree when you said the pandemic sort of pushed us into a corner where we had to revamp ourselves into discovering that we could actually connect more to new contributors or editors beyond our imminent environment. Yes. And then in the light of the Wikimania scholarships, what will the Wiki Indaba 2021 scholarship look like on a continent where there are, of course, not so many official user groups? How are you going to encourage those who want to be part of the community but are not yet organized to be so?
Yeah, this is where the inclusion comes in. So, like I said, we've worked with individuals and people and some organized groups in countries that actually have no, how can I say, established affiliates. But then the numbers of the people that we've worked there are able to come and be a collective to be reckoned with. So the Wiki Indaba scholarship one will be to primarily enable digital access to the proceedings. And then in addition to that, the scholarship will also, how can I put it? I've got a brain freeze. But in addition to enabling a digital access, it will be able to allow those who have gotten the scholarship to be able to meet and interact with like-minded people in the community, because the biggest challenge with that is we could say, okay, there's free registration and everybody will register for free, but then having the access to the places or the things where they can meet people that have more impact than their training could actually afford. So that is what the scholarship for Wiki Indaba 2021 will primarily enable.
You've actually answered most of the questions contained in that particular question, but I would stand on this question because it's something I and some other people, some other members of the community, we had discussed maybe over the past few days. Now, there are people who happen to be active if you check their contributions and all, but unfortunately, they don't belong to any recognized affiliate community. How do you make sure that these people actually access this Wiki Indaba conference in terms of maybe how do you go about the scholarship thing, having them in mind?
The jury is still out on this because the truth is the people working out of established movements or collectives are more than those in the collectives themselves. So it is a decision we are going to have to make. But if all goes well, then the scholarships should be individual scholarships. And there'll be criteria for this, obviously. And the level of activity, of wiki-related activity, is something that we really need to look at, as well as some other defined criteria. But if all goes well, like I mentioned, the number of people working out of established collectives is more than the people within the collectives themselves.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that addresses it because we were just looking out for a definitive answer that will really, resonate with these particular people because Somehow they feel that their interests are not being put into consideration. But thank you for reiterating that their interests will be well protected, of course, subject to the criteria. So moving over to you, Geoffrey, you manage the communications and publicity. How do you ensure that all the communities are carried along?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So, like, this is Wiki Indaba, so it's supposed to be an African conference. And when you look at it, like people use different communication channels. Also, people speak different languages. I think we are a continent with very many different languages. So we have to also make sure that we communicate in different languages when sending out communications, but also reach people in the platforms that they use. We use a lot of, for example, WhatsApp groups here, Facebook groups, Telegram. So how do you reach people in those channels? So what we are doing is to contact people who are leading like groups in different countries. So if we pass out the communication, we reach out to those people and then they reshare the message within their individual groups. And in this way, we know that the message kind of reaches many people. So yeah, first using the different languages when communicating, so at least the major languages in Africa like French, English, Portuguese, Arabic, Swahili, but also reaching people through, the individuals in their communities who, relay that information to them, and that way to make sure that people participate. And also we have social media channels. So we're on Twitter and also Facebook. Have like Wiki Indaba channels there that people can follow to get updates about the conference.
That's actually nice to know that communications are going on at least in all the major languages or major official languages of Africa. Thank you so much, the Wiki Indawa team. Thank you, the Wikimania team. We now move over to the Q&A session. So the participants, if you have any questions for our guest speakers, now will be the time to type them in the comment section while we actually project them to be answered. Okay. Berke Abanda says, where can one find information about WhatsApp groups, etc.? Who are you directing this to? Is it the Wiki Indaba team or the Wikimania team, Berke? You need to specify.
I will answer for the Wiki Indawa team. So we do have a Telegram group for Africa Wikimedians that anyone can join, and I'll drop that in the chat. But also if you are looking for like a WhatsApp group for like a country level, because most of these are like a country level, we have like a WhatsApp group for Wikimedians in Uganda. Then you have to approach the local group in your country, and most of them have like pages on Meta and how you can reach them. So yeah, if you reach out, then you'll be able to be added like to the local Telegram or WhatsApp group. But yeah, at least we have the general one for the whole of Africa, which is Africa Wikimedians, and invite anyone who wants to join that, where we can get updates.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bekaya Banda. He said you could reach out to the heads of your various user groups and also maybe check on the. Okay, Becca is actually addressing both, and the Wiki Indaba the team have given their own answer. For Wikimania, Winnie, could you please let us know where we can see the groups to join? Thanks.
For Wikimania, we are actually not on WhatsApp. We are mostly using Telegram. So we also have a Telegram group for Wikimania 2021. I will share the links, and we are also very active on social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. You could also join our Facebook group on Wikimania as well. So I will also be sharing the links for those. And also, perhaps if you're also not aware, we also share communications on DIF. DIF is the blog section for the Wikimedia community. So that's also one of these areas where you can find links or even information on these social media platforms and groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie, for that. So, Becca, you heard it at the Wikimania Telegram chat. You can also check the Facebook. And yes, in addition, I know Wiki Indaba has a WhatsApp Messenger, a Facebook Messenger thing. So that's also somewhere I also see updates about the Wiki Indaba. Thank you, Becky Abanda, for that question. Any other question? Okay. Jerion Kakul says, what is the timeline for the call for submission to Wiki Indaba? Alice, is there a timeline, a known timeline yet?
It is in the future, but neither have the dates been defined. That call is most likely to come towards the end of August, and the call should last between 3 to 4 weeks, because being a virtual conference, there are so many other things that will go into the presentations that people have to submit, and having to look through, filter, and then also for the individual to do some little work, some extra pimping, so to speak. So that call should be coming soon.
Thank you so much. I like the word pimping. It looks like you guys are about to blow us all away. Yeah, so we'll brace up for that. And then moving. Okay, Jan just acknowledged that the updates on DIF from the Wikimania team, that it's been great so far, and he thanks them for that. Any other question? Okay, there's a question. It says, do you know, that's from Florence. She says, do you know on which platform WikiIndaba will be hosted?
I beg your pardon, sorry?
Do you have an idea on whatever virtual platform the WikiIndaba conference will be happening on?
All right. Geoffrey, could you take that, please?
Okay, Geoffrey.
Yes. So the WikiIndaba platform is we are exploring the different platforms that we can use for the conference, and of course we want a platform which is also light on bandwidth, because that is an issue in very many African countries. So we want to have a platform which will be light on bandwidth. So we're exploring the different platforms, and of course also want to take advantage of Wikimania, because it's also like can be a rehearsal for us to see what they are using, and also we can also tap into that and learn from, because our conference is in November. But yeah, currently we're looking at the different platforms and looking with the different vendors before we make a decision. But yeah, that information will be out once we open registration. Yeah.
Okay, since you're still considering, I'm sure Winnie, your co-publicist, will be willing to put it through. And then the next question, okay, is from Minette. Hello, Minette. Minette says, will there be room for networking between participants on the online platform hosting the two virtual conferences? She's asking for both Wikimania and Wiki Indaba. So who goes first? Wiki Indaba?
For Wiki Indaba, yes, absolutely, because networking is an integral part of the experience.
That's great. Wikimania?
For Wikimania, yes. So using the platform that we are going to use will be open for networking after the program. So after we finish all the session, the platform will remain open so people can networking and discuss things between them.
That's beautiful to know. I personally am looking forward to networking with a lot of people that I'm yet to meet. And then I don't know, does anybody have any other question he would like our special guests to address? Okay, I would take it that that's all the questions. Thank you so much for bringing up these questions, and thank you all the guest speakers for engaging. I believe the questions have all been answered to the satisfaction of the participants. Moving over to the news section. On today's news update, I have with me my colleague, Kandi Koliwe, on the announcements. Please be aware that you can view all the news and access the links in the newsroom section of the WikiAfrica Our Meta page. The first update we'd like you to know is that the 2021 Wikipedia Pages Wanting Photos campaign is still ongoing. You can join the campaign as it ends on 31st August 2021. Candy?
Thank you, Ceslis. The registration for Wikimania 2021 is still open and free. Please register on, yes, you'll see the link on our newsroom. You'll follow the link there.
Yes. And then the Wikimania 2021 scholarship registration ends tomorrow, being the 31st July 2021. Please remember to apply if you need to and haven't done so, as there is no news about any form of extension.
Wikimania 2021 has given updates regarding language support. With the new changes, speakers will not need to provide an English transcription for their pre-recorded sessions.
Yes. And then the call for sessions and project submissions for Wikimania 2021 Hackathon is now open. This year's hackathon will take place in a 24 hours format covering all time zones. You can start proposing a session or a project by following the guidelines. You will find the link to the guidelines in our newsroom. Candy?
The Wikimania Foundation annual plan for this fiscal year, which runs from the 1st of July till June 30th, 2022, is now published. You can now read the overview on the annual plan on the diff. You'll find the link on our newsroom.
And then the new grant strategy for Wikimedia Foundation is now in effect. To see the 3 new funding programs, check out our newsroom for the link on how they broke it down. Candy.
A few more QAs, meetings planned for the Boardroom of Trustees campaign are still scheduled. One is holding on the 1st of August 2021. More details on how to add your questions can be found here. Yes, the link is on our newsroom. Please visit there.
And lastly, the Code for Africa has a paid Wikipedian in residence opportunity for Cameroonian and Senegalese. Actually, beyond one opportunity, they have opportunities for Cameroonian and Senegalese female wiki editors. The call for application is live and would like to invite you to apply. The closing date is July 30th by midnight. That's today. The link is in the newsroom for you to go through and apply. Thank you, Candy, for giving me a hand in that news section. And it's been an engaging session, guys. I'm sure all the attendees now possess a deeper knowledge of Wikimania and Wiki Indaba, the organization and the benefits of these events, thanks to our able special guests who shared their interesting knowledge with us. On behalf of the Wiki in Africa team, we thank everyone for showing up. We thank Andrew Lee and his Wikipedia Weekly team for the StreamYard platform. They've been spoiling us so far with the platform and we are enjoying it. And we thank you, Antoni, Winnie, Yamen, Gnangarra. Despite your busy schedule organizing the Wikimania, you found time to be here with us. And we also thank you, Geoffrey. And Irina, we couldn't have her here, but please tell her we miss her and we hope she surfaces next time. And Alice, thank you so much, and the rest of the Wiki Indaba 2021 co-organizing team for making our time. And we thank you, the participants. Candy and I, Ceslo Zobunaya, wish you a happy weekend and see you next time.
This This episode of WikiAfrica Hour was hosted by Ceslas Obanaya. Let us know what topics you want to discuss and join us next month on the same channels. Subscribe to the Wiki in Africa YouTube channel.